What is up guys, Andy Forest Runner here and welcome back to the Severn Bridge Half Marathon 2019 vlog. Super excited today to be running the first half marathon since March. I used to run half marathons way more often than this and it is my favourite distance, so I'm super excited to be back out there smashing out 13.1 miles. Now today the goal is simply, as always, to run strong, enjoy myself, forget the watch, just check the mile splits as they go off, but just zone in, focus and enjoy the experience. Running over the Severn Bridge is a pretty special thing. Now today I was going to go out there and see where my fitness was at. I've been really enjoying training lately and excited to see the times I've been producing, so I was kind of hoping to go out there and really test myself. However, the weather has other ideas today. We're meant to be getting up to the dizzy heights of 27 degrees I think it is, and by the time we start running it's going to be at least 20 degrees, which means I need to be sensible, I need to use the water stations and I need to listen to my body. We are probably going to finish off absolutely toasting. So I have lots of water, I have lots of sun cream. Today let's just crack on, enjoy ourselves, have fun, see lots of familiar faces and get this show on the road. Right, major rush this morning, but we've just literally got to get out to the starting line. It's a bit of a walk to get onto the bridge, it's a good 20 minutes. So I'm putting you in the bag. Hopefully we get a bit of footage on the way through and I'll see you on the other side. Holy moly, Severn Bridge Half Marathon done and dusted, 1:24:01. That was hard and evil and everything mixed in. I'll give you a full recap in a minute. I'm just walking back to my car, I'll fill you in. Severn Bridge Half Marathon done and dusted. I hope you don't mind I'm placing you guys on the dashboard because I have no energy to hold the camera. Fantastic medal as always, 1:24:01 on the chip time. Really happy with that. Ran today in the Nike Zoom Flies Originals. They're really wearing thin now, but again another solid race performance in those. And just before I dive into the race recap, something I wanted to sort of kind of touch on before I go any further is basically, don't get discouraged if you have a performance that you feel is under par in the heat. I don't think a lot of us realise how much the heat affects us, and 2 years ago, 3 years ago, today would have broken me. It really would have broken me, but I set out my stall at the beginning and I said I want to run a strong, smart race. I said to Lee and Corey before we even began on this journey today, I said, look, I'd love to see how close I am back to being at a 1:20 shape. Maybe even go at a 6-minute mile pace and see what happens, and that's exactly what we did. But I decided not to do that today, even though I did, because the first 2 miles are downhill. I decided not to follow that tactic just because of how hot it was. And at mile sort of 5.5 I looked over to Lee and said to him, mate, I'm not even going to shoot for a time today. It dawned on me very quickly, today is not about chasing a time. Today is about surviving and running a strong race, strong as you can race. And these races pay you dividends come winter time, because you get so much stronger and fitter from running in these conditions and running strong and finishing strong. And today, that's kind of what we did. Today for me was more about just clicking into a gear, especially at mile 6, especially after approaching the big hill, clicking into a gear and just finishing off strong. I got to the bottom of the... let's rewind. Let's do a race recap. So we started off, the gun went off, first couple of miles are downhill, as I said. So you start on the bridge, you have a little sort of a tiny bit of up, and then you head on down. Clocked to 6 flat at that point. I looked at Lee and went, ooh, but it felt good. And then the next mile again was a 5:54 or something like that, and again that was downhill. That felt really comfortable, that felt good, and I was happy with that. But at that point the sun came out and we knew we were in for a tough day. And I said to you guys, on hot days like this, you need to make the most of aid stations, water stations, and I certainly did that today. I paid the price a little bit for that, suffering with stitches, because I do struggle to drink in races, but it was more important that I got stitches and tried to work through them than, you know, get dehydrated and finish really, really badly. So I'm even sweating now just talking in the car. So we pushed on, and mile 3 and 4 clicked off. I think we were around the 6:20s, in the teens or the 6s, and I was like, do you know what, that's that today. That is the pace, that's where we're going to sit, that's how I feel comfortable. Hit a few of the undulating sections, and it is undulating, you know, up down. Clicked through mile 3, 4, 5, feeling okay, but there were multiple times I turned to Lee and said, this is bloody tough. There is one big hill in this race, that's at mile 6. You get through mile 6, and then from 6 to 7, it's not 6 to 7, but about sort of half a mile, 6.5 miles up to mile 7 pretty much, is just, it's a brutal hill. It's really, you're on tiptoes at the end. And on a day like today, it was really not required. Nobody wanted that hill. There was some water at the beginning of the hill, which was great. That really, really helped. So we kicked on at that point. We got up the hill. Lee pulled away from me a little bit up the hill. He was looking strong today, even though he was suffering like me. He just had a little bit more in it, and I was so pleased for him, because he did so well today. And he pulled away a little bit from me at that point. I got to the top of the hill, and then you hit with 3 miles downhill, and I just thought to myself, do you know what, let's just click into a gear and feel good. Caught back up with Lee. He'd made some yards on me, but I pulled back, and we then ran together for the next 3 miles, and those were consistently downhill. So we ran a 5:54 or something like that, then a 6 flat, and I can't remember what the 11th one was. That was about 6:20. And at that point you are back at the base of the bridge, and you are faced with going up and over the bridge again, and I was absolutely zapped. And I could see Lee kept sort of turning his head. He was a step in front of me, looking around, and I just said, Lee, go for it, mate. I can see that you're holding back a little bit. Don't wait for me, do your best. So he kicked on. He finished in 1:23.01, which was incredible in today's weather, absolutely brilliant. And I was 1:24.01, so literally a minute apart. You know, so pleased for him. And I was watching him kick on over the bridge, and I was just thinking to myself, just get into a gear and just click into it, whatever that was. Clicked off the next uphill mile, 7:11 or something like that, and I knew at that point I just had to be sensible, not, you know, throw a wobbly that I'd run a 7-minute plus mile, and just be sensible. And then we hit the brow and a nice downhill, and I think we hit a 6:30, and then the final mile was a 6:20 something. So I really did keep that consistency at the end, so happy with that. I ended up stopping on the final hill, walking about 5 or 6 steps. I was just done in, but a person behind me came up behind me and gave me a chivvy along and said, come on mate, you're nearly there. And we pushed on, and we finished in 1:24.01. 14th place overall. And I'll tell you the reason that I'm really, really happy, and why I'm not discouraged by the fact that the time is so bad, is because I beat a lot of people today that I don't normally beat. I see a lot of people at races today that normally smash me out of the park, and today I was pleased that I managed to run a strong and smart race, not pushing too hard in the beginning, not going out all guns blazing, but appreciating, respecting the weather. And that for me was the most important thing, respecting the weather and just going out there and having a good time and running strong and doing my best. And it really helped to run with Lee today, because he kept me going, and I don't think I would have run as well as I did today if it wasn't for Lee. But as I said, 2 or 3 years ago this race would have buckled me. I'd have come over the line way lower down. So really, really proud of myself for coming in 14th, gutting out the race, finishing it, another one in the bag, another hard training session. And do you know what, my legs don't feel too bad, and I think they don't feel too bad because we weren't pushing at our maximum. We weren't racing 13.1 miles at the hardest we were. I just really started to flake out and get really, really tired in the end. So overall guys, really happy. 1:24.01, Severn Bridge Half Marathon 2019, done and dusted. Thank you so much for your support, really, really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Follow along with the training up to Swindon Half Marathon, 22nd of September. Cannot wait to try and get much closer to 1:20 there. And I will see you next time. Until then.